Tonight, Nick Xenophon's man, the Port Augusta mayor, named as an SA Best candidate in the upcoming state election. And a fleet of new firefighting aircraft to be based in the mid-north.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. Nick Xenophon has announced Port Augusta's Mayor Sam Johnson will be one of his upper house candidates. Ahead of the state election in March, Mr Johnson says he'll be an advocate for a forgotten regional SA.
No longer a Liberal, Sam Johnson is now part of Nick Xenophon's SA Best upper house lineup.
The fact that Sam Johnson, the Mayor of Port Augusta, has come on board to push for regional South Australian issues is a big deal.
From Mayor to LGA board member to Upper Spencer Gulf City's chair, Sam Johnson says it was time to act.
There comes a turning point and you actually sit back and say to yourself, I either need to pee or get off the pot. I either need to stand and put my money where my mouth is and advocate for change.
Nick Xenophon says there was no backdoor deal and their teamwork has already been demonstrated securing solar thermal.
The fact that he's an extraordinarily successful and popular Mayor of Port Augusta, well respected throughout the regions in South Australia, indicates that we're going to give the major parties a run for their money in the bush as well.
Formerly aligned with the Liberals, Mayor Johnson believes SA Best will advocate for regional SA, a role he believes the Liberal Party hasn't fulfilled.
Me as a mayor and me as an individual, me as someone living in the country, me as a father in the country, didn't instil me with that confidence that that was actually going to do what was needed.
Mayor Sam Johnson says he will take leave of absence from his role here at the Port Augusta City Council during the election campaign. If successful in March, he will be required to resign.
We're still going to live in the same house and still reside here, still going to travel those thousands of kilometres each week on country roads, going to be a patient in country hospitals.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
A 32-year-old woman has been arrested after a serious assault in Port Augusta overnight. Emergency services were called to a home on Forster Street around 11:30 to find a man with a laceration to his left arm. He was then airlifted to the Royal Adelaide for surgery. The Marla woman has been charged with aggravated assault causing harm. Police say the pair are known to each other. 4 men have been arrested after allegedly assaulting and threatening a man known to them in Whyalla. At around 1:30 p.m. on Sunday, police allege the 4 stormed the victim's home where they assaulted him with a hammer before threatening him with a firearm. 2 local men, a 19-year-old of no address and a 30-year-old from Manopara, were charged with a raft of offences. The 4 men have been remanded in custody to face court again in March. A man has been arrested after he was forced off a regional express flight to Broken Hill. Patrick Reinke has the details.
A standard Adelaide to Broken Hill Rex flight typically departs at 1:30 in the afternoon, but on Sunday it was delayed by more than 2.5 hours. The pilot was forced to return to the terminal after a 23-year-old man was reportedly not complying with requests from the cabin crew just before takeoff. It's alleged the Northern Territory man ignored a number of requests from flight attendants, including refusing to switch his mobile phone to flight mode. It's believed he also tried to trip a flight attendant while on board the aircraft. In a statement to Southern Cross News, Regional Express confirmed the pilot of Rex Flight ZL 4826 conducted a ground return due to the disruptive passenger, causing a major delay. When the flight arrived back in Adelaide, Australian Federal Police officers escorted the man from the aircraft. He was then arrested and charged with a raft of offences, including endangering the safety of an aircraft. The man was released on bail and will front the Adelaide Magistrates Court next month. The man potentially faces a $9,000 fine for unruly behaviour and a potential jail sentence for interfering with the flight crew.
The Mid-North will soon be the home to a new CFS aerial firefighting base. The announcement follows a trial last year, which will now see aircraft in the area able to attend and extinguish fires within minutes.
They're these saviours from above. And now a new aerial firefighting fleet will soon call the Mid-North home.
Around Clare in the Mid-North. It'll be put together looking at the highest areas of risk during harvest and then based appropriately.
They've got to be strategically located so when they are dispatched they can cover an area which has been identified by the CFS to be a high risk area for potential fires.
4 new aircraft, including 2 fixed-wing bombers and 2 helicopters, will now be able to respond within minutes of an inferno breaking out.
They'll be dispatched straight away, and they're water bombers, and they're going to be able to reach and assist.
The announcement means the number of primary response zones across the state increases from 3 to 4. And with the number of previous bushfires that have ravaged the region, the additional base will be a valuable resource to help protect the community during times of need.
But certainly will give a lot more confidence and more at ease for the people in the regional areas.
Provides a better tactical advantage for the firefighters on the ground. People need to remember that aircraft alone don't extinguish fires.
The base is expected to be up and running by next fire season. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
A focus on tourism is starting to pay off with an increase of visitor numbers at Whyalla landmarks. And it seems the town is leaving a mark on those who visit, with positive feedback being received as far away as Europe.
Whyalla has been shedding its reputation as an industrial centre over the last year, seeking to increase its market share in the tourism industry. And latest figures show it's working, with council recording an increase in visitors.
Done a lot of just kind of renaming and re-looking at Whyalla and trying to say we're more than just what you think we are, so come and explore some of the hidden treasures.
Visitor centre numbers are up 5% on last financial year. HMAS Whyalla tour numbers were up 10%, while Point Lowly visits were up 6%. And even as they tried to shed their Steel City nickname, Steelwork tour numbers were also up by 5%.
And we're getting a lot more overnight stays because they're finding more things to do while they're here. So we're really exploring, I guess, some of the trips that they can do.
The feedback is also rolling in from as far away as Italy. An Italian couple who visited in November recently emailed praising the city and the work of the Visitor Info Centre. Daniel Edwards took the couple on to the HMAS Whyalla and says it shows Whyalla is making a mark.
They don't really know much about Whyalla before they get here. They're going away planning to stay longer than they originally first thought.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
After the break, the local police officers who managed to recover memories for an Adelaide family. Details next. The Red Cross is in urgent need of blood donors from the Port Pirie area. A mobile blood donation centre will be visiting the town next week, with the service calling on first-time donors to roll up their sleeves.
It's a life-saving donation, and the Red Cross Blood Service is in urgent need of more. Just over 300 residents give blood regularly, but that's a small number of the more than 8,000 people that are eligible to donate.
That leaves us with 8,200 residents who are yet to roll up their sleeves and make their first blood donation.
It's calling upon first-time donors to give an hour of their time and roll up their sleeve to fill the gap of regular donors who are away on holidays.
Looking for around 70, preferably new donors, to come and give blood. Giving blood only takes about an hour of your time, but it could mean a lifetime to the person receiving it.
Donating blood can help save the lives of 3 Australian patients, relying on a steady blood flow to help treat cancer, blood disorders, road trauma and stem bleeding from childbirth.
1 in 3 of us will need a donated blood or blood component in our lifetime.
A mobile blood donor centre will be at the Virtus Soccer Club next week.
We'll be there between Tuesday, January 16 and Friday, January 19.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
An Adelaide family will be reunited with their sentimental photos thanks to some modern detective work. A phone tracking app has led police to find not only a phone, but a camera stolen 3 years ago.
Searching through Port Augusta bushland, local officers found more than they bargained for, a family's precious memories.
Searching that area, not only did they find the missing phone, they also found the camera that had been stolen some 3 years ago.
Using the Find My iPhone app, Port Augusta police found a stolen phone, which led them to this.
We're very happy that we're able to recover both sections of property, but more importantly, that we're able to provide those photos back to the family, because cameras can be replaced, Phones can be replaced, but those memories simply can't.
Fortunately, the camera contained photos of a family car and, after a quick search of the registration plate, its owners were found. Police are now reminding the public to engrave their valuable items.
What we suggest is that people engrave or mark using special ultraviolet pens their property with their driver's licence.
It's also a reminder for locals to track their stolen items with the police's help.
One is it's very important for their own safety. We don't want them confronting suspects or offenders who have stolen the property. That can be very, very dangerous for them. The other thing is it potentially compromises our investigations.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
The Eyre Peninsula's Natural Resource Board will be running a summer holiday program this month, focusing on our local marine parks. It's hoping to educate locals on the unique nature of our waterways by opening up what lies beneath.
Each summer, thousands flock to water spots across the EP for leisure, yet many are unaware of what's underneath the waves. Around 80% of marine life in this region is unique, with the Spencer Gulf playing host to some remarkable creatures.
We've got our leafy sea dragons and our giant Australian cuttlefish and our great white sharks. So yeah, it's a fantastic place we live.
And through January, they want us to go exploring. They're running an Immerse Yourself in a Marine Park program to give locals a peek at life under the sea. Interactive workshops will be run in Whyalla and Port Lincoln, while snorkelers will get the opportunity to have a first-hand look at life at the bottom of the Spencer Gulf.
Great opportunity for the kids to come out and have some fun and experience the marine life and participate in some activities.
8 parks are located in the Spencer Gulf, protecting and developing a variety of species. Mr. Brewer says he hopes people will come away with a better idea of how to look after our oceans.
Learn a little bit more and empower themselves, I guess, with the knowledge that, they can then go away and make decisions in life that helps to protect our oceans.
Details on how to get involved are on our Facebook page. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Still to come tonight, how our natural wonders could become eco-friendly tourism ventures. The details next. Members of the Broken Hill community are being asked to nominate a doctor or nurse for their service to the community. Every year, the Farwest Local Health District Recognition Awards honour health professionals who deliver great service with a smile.
We have a form on our Farwest internet site, so you can go online and fill that in. We also have paper forms available at reception, and we have an email site as well.
Nominations are now open. The awards will be held in August. New eco-friendly tourism ideas for conservation parks are now open for business development. The Neptune Islands off the coast of Eyre Peninsula have been flagged as a potential site to grow nature-based tourism.
Imagine if you could arrive by air to swim with sharks or stay in our renowned national parks in eco-friendly accommodation. Well, those ideas could soon be reality.
Historically, we've seen national parks as something that's been tucked away, locked away, and not had access for people to go in there and develop things. What we want to do now is say, look, we're open for business.
It's a real opportunity for some entrepreneurial development.
The push to open parks for business and accommodation is a bid by the state government to expand its tourism market to $8 billion, and no idea is off limits.
If you've got a good idea, it might be a helipad, chopper people in, and then they don't have to spend the whole day getting out on a boat to Neptune from Port Lincoln.
Mayor Bruce Green is in full support of making our national parks more accessible, but as long as the pristine wildlife is left untouched.
An eco-lodge development within the national park. It's a great idea, great concept. We've seen it work around the world. 18
unique sites have been flagged, but developing the Neptune Islands could see the largest growth.
International tourism operators who might see some opportunity here that might require millions of dollars of investment, but they think they can add to their global showcase of environmental activities.
Expressions of interest close at the end of this month. Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Time to see what's biting around the Gulf now. Here's Fishing Tips.
Welcome another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips. It's been a long, hot summer so far, but the weather's cooling at the moment. Blue swimmer crabs are just starting to come round. By the end of this month, they'll be on in full numbers. So blue swimmer crabs, remember those guys. just take what you need at the moment because they are a little bit soft-shelled and you should have a good time. So if you're looking for yellowfin whiting, try around your Talawi and Port Tremaine. You should find yourself some of those. Some small pan-sized snapper are being seen in the area, so have a crack with that also, and larger ones in the deeper areas by Whyalla.
G'day and welcome to the New Year's fishing tips. Wishing everyone, or hoping everyone had a really good Christmas and a happy New Year. Get out there amongst the crabs, heaps of crabs, really big and really solid at the moment. A few garfish over the middle banks at high tide in the early mornings, and also along the shore for silver whiting down along the shacks there. Just a reminder, just to check up on the life jacket laws there. There's been a few people getting caught out on those.
Hi, Whyallah's fishing report this week. There's been plenty of snapper coming out from the boats. Best areas to target have been definitely the Point Lowly Rip. There's still some good fish down south, but definitely fish the deeper water. And there's some really nice panties holding up in Cowlard's Landing on sunrise and sunset, so get amongst them while they're there. Also out for the boats, there's been a few crabs running. Definitely still got to stay in the deeper water. They haven't quite pushed into the shallows yet, and there's been a bit of a late run of squid down towards Mount Young. For the land-based anglers, again, some really good silver whiting pushing in front of the Foreshore Caravan Park, and some nice-sized tommies and garfish down towards Point Lowly.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. Locally in the bay there's been a few garfish, a few good sized ones as well. Also in the bay there's been some good squid lately. A few people have been targeting crabs in the shallows at Proper Bay, and they're beginning a few, but they're still not thick at the moment. Moving out of the bay down around Taylor's Island, there's been a patch of tuna working that area. Some more cooperative patches of tuna have been found down around the Cabbage Patch. Moving over to Coffin Bay, there's been some good snook within the bay and a few salmon trout. Out around Farm Beach, the whiting have been pretty patchy, so you've had to move around to find some fish. And out wide of Sir Isaac's, there's been some nice snapper and nanagai out on the lumps. That's it for this week. We'll see you again with more fishing tips next week.
Time for the weather now, and Abby, we were hit with some extreme heat today.
Yes, we were, Fraser. We saw some very hot weather, but it's hopefully the end of it for a few days at least. I'll have all the details next. Welcome back. Well, the Spencer Gulf certainly sizzled today. It hit a scorching 43 degrees in Port Augusta, while temps peaked at 37 degrees in Whyalla. It wasn't as hot to the west though, 31 the top for Port Lincoln, and Port Pirie and Broken Hill also hit the 40s. On the satellite, cloud over central eastern and northeastern parts with a trough is generating the odd shower and thunderstorm. We'll see southwesterly winds up to 20 knots on the waters tomorrow, seas at 1.5 metres with a south-southwesterly swell, and the sun will pop up at 6:20. Taking a look at tomorrow now, and that trough we saw on the satellite is expected to bring patchy rain and thunder for all centres tomorrow. But the good news is we'll see a big drop in temperatures. Port Augusta will still be hot though, 35 the top, but a lot more bearable than the 43-degree heat we saw today. Temps cooling off in Whyalla, while it will be much cooler in the west, just 20 the top for Coffin Bay. But there's no relief for you in Broken Hill, with the mercury rising to a scorching 44 degrees. Looking ahead, it's looking like a wet and windy day on Saturday for Port Lincoln, but temps will be fine and pleasant in Cleve and Woodner. A lovely sunny day is forecast for your Sunday, and that gorgeous summer weather is to continue into Monday. It will be hot in Woodner though, 33 the top. Further up the Gulf, while we'll see quite warm and thundery conditions in all centres tomorrow, it's looking like it will cool down to lovely temps on Saturday, hovering around the mid to high 20s. Those pleasant temps will continue into Sunday, with the cloud cover clearing on Monday to a sunny and warmer day. Port Augusta is heading for a top of 32 degrees. And lastly, the warm weather will continue tomorrow before some gorgeous Saturday temps, sunny and 27 the top in Port Pirie, before the dial rises again on Sunday and into the working week, 29 the top for Clare on Monday. And it's good news for Broken Hill because you'll have a nice break from the extreme heat. So Fraser, after an absolute scorcher, relief is on the way just in time for the weekend.
Thank you, Abby, and that's all from the newsroom for now. Thanks for your company. Good night.